Renewed concern this week over the latest COVID-19 numbers. Middlesex County health officials report a jump in positive COVID cases, and Arlington school leaders are taking notice. In its fourth session, town meeting members spoke, banning certain plastic water bottles in town. We talked to the co-chair of Zero Waste Arlington, who tells us he was very surprised with the vote tally. We'll tell you why. Arlington prepares to honor the men and women in uniform who served our country and have since passed on. More than 5,000 U.S. flags dot the landscape at Mount Pleasant Cemetery, courtesy of a select few, marking this upcoming Memorial Day 2022. ACMi News interviews a Ukrainian refugee whose family has been displaced by the brutal Russian invasion of her country. She knows where her sister and brother are, and that's what has her absolutely horrified. It's an exclusive interview you will only see here. ACMi News starts right now.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered. We're your neighbors, a friend you can turn to, giving you stories that count from people who care, dedicated, determined, dependable. This is ACMi News.
It appears as though we're trending backwards in this current COVID crisis. Hello, I'm Anim Osmani.
And I'm Paul Werlin. Arlington's positive COVID-19 test rate currently stands at 4.33%. That's a 0.5% jump since last week, according to the Department of Public Health, and that's just the beginning. This week, Arlington reported a 2-week case count of 213 compared to last case count of 199. Also, over the past week, Arlington has added 33.2 new cases per day per 100,000 people. That's slightly higher than the 31 cases per 100,000 in Arlington as of April 28th. In a recent interview with Arlington's town manager, Adam Chapdelaine offered some advice to think about.
The virus seems to be everywhere. And you know, I can't even count on two hands how many people I know in my sphere who have recently had it or have COVID right now. So be careful out there, right? I don't have any direct advice about masking or unmasking or what to do, but be careful out there. As you've said many times, we might be done with the virus, but it's not done with us. So please be careful and stay well.
The town's latest COVID numbers are causing concern throughout the town's public school system. Arlington Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Elizabeth Homan, is strongly urging students and staff at all Arlington public schools to wear masks while indoors, except when necessary for eating or drinking. Health officials have determined Middlesex County transmission levels are currently rated high, and the CDC recommends masking indoors at this transmission level. According to Your Arlington, the town's public schools cases reached a total of 159 last week. That's the highest case rates since the outset of the Omicron surge. Dr. Homan's recommendation applies to all schools currently without mask requirements. She says she'll be updating the school committee in the very near future to determine if the requirements stay in place.
Lieutenant Dan Kelly, a retired member of the Arlington Police Department, passed away Tuesday, May 3rd after battling cancer for several years. The announcement was first made by Chief Julie Flaherty this week. Kelly served 32 years as a decorated member of the Arlington Police Department. Chief Flaherty said in a statement that Kelly was more than a police officer, sergeant, and lieutenant. He was also a friend to many, a devoted husband, and a proud father. Kelly joined the Arlington Police Department in 1987 and, according to fellow officers, developed a reputation for his quick wit and ability to see the positive side of any situation. A funeral procession, which included police officers and loved ones from all over this area, took place on Mass Ave on Tuesday, May 10th, and motored to St. Agnes Church, where Kelly's burial was celebrated. Lieutenant Kelly leaves behind his wife and 3 children. He was 58 years old.
As ACMi News told you last week, in their 4th session, town meeting members supported banning the sale of certain plastic water bottles. By a sizable majority, the members endorsed a ban on single-use plastic water bottles, sized 1 liter and smaller, to take effect this November 1st. It applies only to non-carbonated, non-flavored water, and an exemption is included for public emergencies. We talked to Larry Slotnick, co-chair of Zero Waste Arlington, just after the vote was taken. Slotnick says he was surprised by the number of votes for the ban.
it was interesting. During town meeting, we expected more discussion, more types of opposition to it, but the folks who spoke about it with a tone of opposing it or possibly wanting to delay the implementation, those folks really wanted to talk more about how much they also dislike single-use plastic, and were really wondering why we didn't try for a more expansive article that covered other, single-use beverage bottles that are sold either by restaurants or convenience stores.
What do you say to those people who say this is virtue signaling? You're just doing this to maybe a feel-good measure.
No, well, we feel that Arlington, as indicated by many other steps that the town has been taking on the topic of sustainability, energy use reduction, and greenhouse gas reduction, is ready to be part of the solution to just cutting back dramatically on single-use plastic consumption.
The town meeting motion passed 199 to 42, or 82%, according to town moderator Greg Christiana. Again, the bottle ban will take effect November the 1st.
In just a few days, most of us will have an extended weekend come Memorial Day on May 30th. It'll be a time for barbecues, ball games, and backyard outings, not to mention great deals at retail stores and car dealers. But beyond that, there's a reason why we mark this holiday. Arlington's Director of Veteran Services, Jeff Chunglo, will be busy all this month placing 5,500 U.S. flags on the graves of our men and women in uniform. From the Revolutionary War to the war on terrorism, Chunglo is making sure that amidst the retail sales, picnics, and parties, those Americans who fought for our everyday freedoms are honored.
On Monday, May the 30th, families will pay their humble respects and quiet tribute to a father, a mother, a sister, or brother who gave their lives so that we may be fortunate heirs to the freedoms they defended. The loss, of course, may be fresh, or it may only be a distant, but still very, very painful memory. Either way, the town of Arlington's Director of Veteran Services, Jeffrey Chunglo, is doing everything he can here at Mount Pleasant Cemetery to make sure Americans in uniform who represent Arlington and surrounding areas and who have passed on live on forever in our hearts.
Here at Mount Pleasant, we place approximately 5,500 plus, maybe a little bit more, flags. We do all the veteran graves. So if there's someone out there that has a veteran that doesn't have a veteran marker, please contact my office. We'll get that placed and make sure they get a flag for Memorial Day. Yeah, so we have the Grand Army of the Republic from Civil War all the way up through World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, global war on terrorism. So we have a rich history here. I'm all for a 3-day weekend, and I do look forward to it every year, the official start of summer, but you're correct. We need to start with that remembrance, because we wouldn't be able to enjoy our free time or a 3-day weekend had things changed in World War II. So we owe a debt of gratitude to every veteran that has served.
Jeff Chunglo says on Memorial Day, or any other day for that matter, no American should ever take their freedoms for granted, which is why this Memorial Day, May the 30th, these flags will be serving as a constant reminder for us, the living, to join together as one people, one nation under God, to honor our brothers and sisters who wear the uniform, their families who fear for them each and every day, and the ones who paid the terrible price for our liberty. For ACMi News, I'm Jeff Barnes.
Jeff Chunglo spent years placing stickers on the graves of service people from Arlington and surrounding areas, and that's how he knows to mark their final resting spots with the Stars and Stripes. In recent weeks, ACMi News has been talking to residents in Kiev, Ukraine, to get the latest updates on the brutal invasion of that country.
We first established contact with Natasha and John Sennett, who moved from the United States to Kyiv in the fall of 2019. just before the COVID outbreak and, of course, Vladimir Putin's invasion.
The Senate got us in touch with Nastia Papandopoulos, who is a member of the Ukraine PR Army, an organization that is dedicated to setting the record straight and debunking the daily propaganda coming out of Russia's state-run media.
Nastia puts us in touch with Angelika Todoroshka, a Ukrainian who fled her country on day one of the war in late February. Angelika wants to tell her story about the horrors endured by her mother, sister, and brother.
And a caution to our viewers, some of what she has to say is disturbing, to say the least. Here's Angelika's interview with ACMi News Director Jeff Barnd.
I want to make it public. I want to share this story because I know that I hope that it might help to get my sister out of there.
You were able to get out of Ukraine on the day that war broke out, correct?
February 25, the next day, yes, I moved to Lviv in January this year. So I was lucky that I was close to border and I was able to get to the border with Poland. It was terrible. We have to walk 11 kilometers because we don't have a car, and this was like the first day. There were nothing, like no volunteers. Like it's just the beginning, so it was mess and no transportation, nothing. And we were lucky that like people, Ukrainian girls on the car, they were passing by and they pick us up because we hired a taxi driver who took us to the border, but not to the border exactly, but as close as he could. And then we have to like leave the car and walk with our feet. And when we crossed the border, we went to Warsaw because there we have a friend who can let us live in her apartment. And from there, I was lucky to get to Portugal.
Now, tell us about your family. You say in this, first of all, you work in human resources for an IT company, correct?
Yes, for years.
And you have a 54-year-old mother, a 32-year-old twin sister, and a 19-year-old brother. Tell us about them. What happened to them once war broke out?
My mom is 52. It's a typo. So she's 52, not 54. My twin sister, she's 32, same as me. We were born the same day. And my younger brother, he's 19. They used to live in a small village, really, really close to the border with Russia. So it's like Ukraine, 100 meters, and then Russia. It's on the border. And the whole region is my home. And when the war started, my family, they were taking this village. It's the first village on the border. And they were taken like within first hour by Russians. So no one was able to get out. People were trying to reach a bus. There is a bus that is going to Kharkiv from the village. and even the bus, they have to get back. So no one was able to get out.
Tell me when the last time you heard from your sister, and have you heard anything about your sister?
It was 25th or 26th of February. She called me, and as I find out later on, she wasn't able to text me because Russians, they are like in the village, they are searching the houses and they are taking whatever they want. My sister's phone, they took the phone.
So you haven't heard from your sister since late February, and you have no idea where she is?
I know where she is. I know where she is. She's exactly at the same place where were my mom. They took my mom from first time. They took my mom and my sister in March. In March 6th, they took them and then they let them go. First time. Second time they came exactly for my mother. It was March 26th. They took my mom to captivity. They took her from home with a bag on her hand. They took her to Russia. First place was called Hoptivka. It's like the border spot between Russia and Ukraine. My mom spent some time there in a cell, and then from there they took her to Russia. And in Russia they are taking people to SIZO, which is kind of name for prison in Russia. And I think my sister are there. They know that my mom, she's a military person. She's an army cook for years. Since 2017, she works for army. And they know that our family is kind of military. So that's why they took my mom and they took my sister. And I know that these are the same people.
Where is your brother right now? Do you have any idea where he is?
He texted me this morning. He said he doesn't know if he will be able to charge his phone again. And also he said that like more than electricity, they turn off the gas in the village. And we have like all kitchen with gas. So you're cooking on the gas. Since today, he and all people there, they will have to cook outside, make a fire like cave people and cook if they have something. They don't have food there, because since February 24th, nothing comes from city, nothing. No one goes there because it's taken completely by Russians. So they are eating what they have. What I'm saying now is everything I heard from my mom, word to word. So it's her words. She was taking, they put the bag and tied it so you will not see anything. And all the people there, they're wearing masks because they don't want you to see them faces. I think they are afraid of revenge.
You go on in your note that my mom got tortured with electric shock. Yes. Because Russians thought she knew the secrets and positions of the so-called Ukrainian Nazis.
They were asking my mom, she said me they were torturing her with electric shock and asking her where are the Ukrainian Nazis. So she really couldn't even understand what they were asking. Like above, like there is no Nazis in Ukraine. Ukrainian Nazis, it's a nonsense. She told me that she was hearing a lot. People were screaming because of the tortures and because of pain. If it's a man, they will break the ribs and just leave you in your cell and you're suffering from the pain and from the internal bleeding, I think, and it's really fire. They shave women. First of all, they shave the hair. They are breaking the noses for women. They were making photos of, like, they will tie you and make photo. They will make that people too. And my mom took off all clothes and make photo. She made up a game to survive this in the evening, and when she was lying down, she was, as she told me, watching movies. She will close her eyes.
That is that I love you, Scarlett. In spite of you and me and the whole silly world going to pieces around us, I love you. Because we're alike.
Remember some really old favorite movie she liked, and like watching it inside her head, that will take her mind off everything. And it was really good for her that she was doing this. I will be going to bed this day, and I still don't have my sister. And tomorrow I will be waking up and I still don't have my sister. And it's 6 days already she's there, and I cannot imagine what they are doing to her, and she knows nothing. And she did nothing. Really sorry, it makes me sick thinking I literally hate, physically hate Putin. It makes me sick. I cannot talk, I cannot breathe.
It's an annual spectacle. Military hardware rolls through the center of Moscow. This is part of a rehearsal for the Victory Day parade, which this year comes at a time of war. I still wanted to see this beautiful sight, the power, and to be proud of my Russia and my army, this woman said.
Sometimes I see something from Russian people. I don't know why they hate us so much. Why? I pray, I ask everyone to pray for my sister, because she did nothing. She doesn't deserve this. No one deserves this, actually. But she's 6 days. She's 6 days there.
Instead, many Russians remain in awe of the power on display at home and believe that when it comes to their military, there's no other option but victory.
I don't know why they hate us so much. Why? Why?
Angelica told Jeff that she'd tell us if she heard anything new about her family. We have yet to hear back.
May is Huntington Disease Awareness Month, and the Huntington Disease Society of America, a premier nonprofit, held a live storytelling showcase at the Regent Theater on May 11th. The society is dedicated to improving the lives of everyone affected by the disease. This event was meant to heighten awareness about the fatal genetic disease and tell the emotional stories of those who were affected by it. I was able to attend on May 11th and learn that our DNA does not need to determine everything about how we live.
This event is really exciting and different from other events we've done. So a lot of our events are walkathons, golf tournaments. We, of course, do education events, and we have dinner galas. This is different because we are opening this up to, and hoping we get a lot more of the general public to learn about this rare and challenging disease in a creative way. So the storytelling hopefully will get people beyond just learning about the facts of the disease, and in a very sort of creative way, they will have more of a pulse on what it means to have HD in the family.
HD has a broad impact on a person's functional abilities and usually results in movement, cognitive, and psychiatric disorders, and can also result in death. But the hundreds of attendees at the Regent weren't belted by these facts. They were given unique perspectives about what HD tells us about living from the people who live with it. The storytelling event was sponsored by Unicore and Stellar Storytelling, a Boston-based business that helps people and institutions make meaningful change through storytelling.
Something that's really important to us is that obviously none of us can determine our DNA, but that doesn't mean our DNA needs to influence how we live our lives necessarily and how we think about things that are important. And so this evening is all about sharing stories of resilience, stories of courage, stories of family, and reminding us that even in difficult times, like with Huntington's disease, there also can be moments of joy.
And if there's a story to be told, the Regent Theater is a great place for it. And if there is one message the storytellers will want you to take from their stories, Charles King will tell you.
My story is pretty simple. It's really just about the importance of family and how because Huntington's disease is a hereditary disease. There's a very familial aspect to dealing with it, and it really just, I guess, when you're in it and you're dealing with the trouble that comes from it, it really just all kind of reemphasizes the importance of family and togetherness and things like that. It's a disease that's very hard on the people that are affected by it, but also the caregivers and the people that are related to the person affected.
What HD tells us about living was a filmed event. If you missed it, the recordings will be available on hdsa.org. Huntington's disease is rare and affects about 1 in 12,000 people. It's believed that around 44,000 people in the US are diagnosed with HD. There currently is no cure, but various forms of therapy can help manage symptoms. The HDSA also accepts donations through their website. If you wish to donate, just go to the Society's website, hdsa.org.
Back on the home front, annual town meeting began April 25th. In its 5th session this week, town meeting voted in favor of Article 17, the regulation of gas-powered leaf blowers. Many residents say the gas engines on these power tools generate large amounts of air pollution, and the noise they generate can cause headaches as well as increased depression and anxiety. Concern also raised by the Centers for Disease Control. Meantime, town meeting is moving along. It's held virtually, convening every Monday and Wednesday, 8 o'clock p.m. to 11 o'clock p.m., until all articles are heard. ACMi is providing live coverage of the town meeting on the government channel, Comcast 22, RCN 614, and Verizon 26, and streaming live at acmi.tv/govlive. ACMi will also rebroadcast each week's sessions multiple times throughout the week. Stay with ACMi for the latest developments in Arlington's Town Meeting 2022.
That'll do it for this week's edition of ACMi News. Thanks for joining us. I'm Anim Osmani.
And I'm Paul Werlin. Have a great week and enjoy the spring-like weather that seems, emphasis on seems to want to stick around in these parts for a while. Take care.